People, that was almost a good beat. In the place to be, what's going on? It's me. If it's Sunday, it must be time for yet another long overdue movie review. This one takes us all the way back to 2005. We are talking, of course, since it's Harry Potter month, since after a month they'll be gone from HBO Max, we're talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Yes, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Non-spoiler edition, of course. Before we get to in this one, Robert Pattinson is in this one, and he is a strange-looking human being. He's your new Batman, your new Batman. He's new Batman. I'm Batman. Batman. He's a new Batman, and he's a strange-looking human being. I believe this is just before he becomes a sparkly vampire. That's a strange-looking dude. You know what I mean? Oh, it was a heartthrob. He looks like he's got like caterpillars all over his face. He looks like he's not real. You know what he looks like? You know what he looks like? I'm gonna move over here because I'm gonna edit something in. You know what he looks like? He looks like one of the Weekenders. He looks like one of the Weekenders, from the cartoon. He looks like He looks like one of the Weekenders, and y'all made him a heartthrob. That's weird. That's so weird. This is the shit like this that makes people think that teenage girls are out of their goddamn minds. Because it's like, really, that cartoon character, that pale, that super duper. Oh, he's British. Yeah, whatever. But like that's opaque. That's translucent. I like goth girls too. You know, I like the pale ones. You know, I'm for them too. But at a certain point, when you can see through and see veins and shit, you know, on their face, like all over the place, like, you know, you gotta start asking some questions. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start. You know, maybe that vampire role wasn't so much a role as it was a documentary. You know what I'm saying? That's a weird choice. And his facial features he doesn't look human. He doesn't look like a real person. He looks like a creative character that is spliced into a cutscene. What can I say here that I didn't say in the last one? The special effects are still about where they were last time. The story is still about, actually maybe a little bit more compelling as it was last time. We're getting more story structure, a more cohesive story. We're seeing the kids grow up. We're seeing the actors grow up. We're seeing them settle. They're now nicely settled in their roles. We're now cruising on down the highway of Harry Potter towards those 8, but really 7, but you don't want to have 8.5 hour long movies. We're on our way down there. Everybody's cruised in. This is like season 3 of a sitcom. It's actually more like the continuation of season 2 of a sitcom. Because season 3, people get too comfortable. This one didn't feel too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? In season 4, a lot of people have checked out. But this one doesn't feel too comfortable. It feels like they continued the momentum that they carried on from the second one. And I like that. What else can I say without getting into spoilers? So I'm going to take my customary sip before we dip into spoiler territory. Okay, basically, we don't ever, so far, we don't have to see Harry's Muggle family again. Terrific. Terrific. We don't have time to spend on them. This is another 2.5 hour long movie. We don't have time to spend on them. We go straight to the Quidditch World Cup that's viciously and violently attacked, which actually made me think about what's going to happen when shit in real life starts reopening up and when that first one is going to happen. Anyway, that's viciously attacked. Again, the special effects here are very good. We, at least from what we see, then we do start to see some more shipping happening on. They're playing around with the relationships now. They know exactly where they are in the story building, where they are in the timeline, right? We're not at Endgame yet, so we're not going to get Endgame yet, right? We're gonna see little challenges along the way, little starter relationships, the relationships that don't really matter, that aren't necessary to the plot of the, or that are necessary to just keep things moving, but aren't in game. Hermione's gonna get with some Russian dude, not in game. Ron is going to be jealous and he's going to be mad and he couldn't pull the trigger in time, and so he ends up going to the dance with the Patel sisters, or one of the Patel sisters, which, you know, exploration of that would be nice, but we don't really get. They're just filler. They're just filler, and you know, he acts like he saved one of the other school's sisters that came in, so he gets little kisses on the forehead and on the cheek. Just filler, just filler. But Harry Potter with the little Asian girl from, I don't even remember where she was from, that seems to be in game. At least they're setting it up to make it appear to be in game. And again, filler all the way around, filler all the way around. Harry Potter's not really thinking about girls at this point. He's got bigger fish to fry, right? We leave that for Hermione and Ron, right? He's got bigger fish to fry. So his bigger fish, now we're back to Voldemort. We have gone through, if we're talking about professional wrestling terms, we are at the point where we need to have something break in order to keep this relationship going, in order to keep the tension of this thing going. However, it doesn't have to be the biggest part. It can be, all things considered, the second biggest part. What this is if we're setting this matchup for WrestleMania, again, between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, right? Harry Potter is Stone Cold Steve Austin, Voldemort is The Rock, right? So, Stone Cold Steve Austin has had a couple challenges, and he just finished off one of the lackeys before he gets to The Rock. He just finished off the Big Show before he gets to The Rock, right? So now they actually are face-to-face. And they actually are basically involved in this match. But it's not really a one-on-one match. You know what I'm saying? It's not really the one-on-one Rock versus Stone Cold for the title match. Yet they're involved. They're in the ring together. They face off. They get physical with each other. But the big match is going to be at WrestleMania. We're at SummerSlam right now. We're about halfway point between WrestleMania and WrestleMania. We're at SummerSlam right now. So they're setting up. They have the confrontation, they have the face-off. It's a battle, but it's not the actual official match yet. Or maybe it is, maybe it's the first one, but we're going to get the rematch in 6 months after we build more stuff up. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you build a storyline, and that's what they're going for here. We fill the other 2.5 hours with the Tri-Wizard Cup, right? Fine. And that's good too, because again, what we're talking about is we're talking about building equity in Harry Potter's power, Harry Potter's abilities, Harry Potter's knowledge. We're building equity in our hero. He's gathering coins. He's gathering, mushrooms to go fight King Koopa and fire flowers and everything else. And he's hoarding up. He's building equity, he's building steam, he's building momentum, he's building knowledge of the game to get to the final boss, which he does a preview of, but we're going to get to the final later. I like that. I like how they built that. That's particularly good. Before the games begin, the other schools start coming in. The girls' school comes in on flying Pegasi. The Russian team comes on a big battleship that comes up out of the ocean. That's my special effects issue in this one. That should have and could have been done a whole lot better. That looked like crap. That looked like absolute crap. The women's Pegasus thing looked fine. That ship looked garbage. It looked like they started to go back to year one. And please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's 5 points off, Gryffindor. Don't do that. The Goblet chooses Harry for the games. He's not supposed to be in the games. One representative from each school. We've got 3 schools. How are there 4 contenders? His name was in it. We'll get to how his name is in it a bit later. Harry talks to his godfather through the fire thing. His godfather is still a fugitive at this point. He conjures himself up in a fire. He talks to them, and before then, Harry's looking at a paper. They were interviewed by a reporter, rich reporter, who I guess is just the Omni reporter. She seemed like a gossip reporter, but she was also there for an important event. And she misattributes stuff to Harry and basically just talks lies. Yada yada yada. Something Harry Potter had a teenage tragedy, right? And as He throws the paper towards the fire but doesn't hit. After he's done talking to his godfather, then the fire starts eating up the paper and it freezes on teenage tragedy. Little foreshadowing there, a little foreshadowing, right? A little clue. You may not think that if you've never, read the books or anything. You're going in this cold like I am, right? It actually comes back. You think, oh, they're sort of like, oh, they're teasing that it's, a tragedy is going to befall Harry. Actually, not the one you're thinking, but actually. So first task, they got to fight dragons. The dragon scene is actually not the scene that I would say sucks the most. Again, I'm talking just the little short clip of the ship coming out. I hated that. The dragon one, fine, I'll give you the pass. It's good enough for what we're talking about in 2005. I'll give that a pass. The wizard ball prep. All of a sudden, we turn into a teenage movie. All of a sudden, we turn into a teenage middle school, high school movie. All of a sudden, everybody's thinking about dates and who's asking who, and the boys are shy to ask the girls, and the girls, are yada yada yada. We see Harry and Ron walk through the halls, and Harry with the astute observation that women always travel in packs. So how are you supposed to get one alone to ask them out? Well, Harry, my young wizard, we have, and nowadays, we have a device called a smartphone. And all we do now is we just do this. That's all we do, is we just do this. And if you're a guy who's not rich and famous, you do this thousands and thousands and thousands of times for one girl to do the same to you. You then have to entertain her. You then have to be the funniest, the smartest, the brightest, the whateverest, in order to keep her attention long enough for her to possibly maybe say yes to going out with you and grabbing a drink, so that you can actually get to know each other a little bit better. If she doesn't automatically say something stupid like, you don't even know me, which is stupid because that's the whole point of asking you out, is to get to know you, but she doesn't think it's stupid, but it is stupid, and you sometimes want to expectronus yourself off the planet. But I digress. Harry with the astute observations. He's also a lot more perceptive when it comes to possible interest than I have ever been. Not true. I was good with the ladies until puberty hit, and then it fucked me up. But he's much more astute. He picks up the signals. He see a girl, the Patel's sister, just say hi to him, and he's like, hey, I'll ask them. The Asian chick asked, they were passing each other. He's like, oh, alone. Here's the opportunity, and he takes the opportunity. Way more astute in his attempts at making stuff happen than I have ever been in my entire life. Hats off to you, Harry. If anything in these movies is more astonishing than him doing anything else and winning everything in the first movie or whatever, it's that. It's his astuteness when it comes to girls having any kind of interest in you whatsoever. Because you got to hit me over the head with a plank of dry wall, cord wall. You got to hit me in the head with something hard for me to understand. Speaking of romantic heroes, Hagrid is my hero. Boy, oh boy. At this dance, Hagrid is my hero. He is shorter than the woman he is interested in. Yes, I said shorter. He is overweight. He doesn't have the highest accredited, experienced job or whatever. He's not necessarily a millionaire. But boy, is he getting something in this. Him and the super tall Resident Evil lady before she was Resident Evil lady. My hero. That don't happen in real life. Let me tell you from experience. That does not happen in real life. A woman that's taller than you, if you're shorter than the woman and fatter than the woman and don't make as much money as the woman, do you know how much of an astronomical occurrence it is that she even lets you breathe in her direction? Knowing from experience, my hero. Don't remind me that it's all fantasy. I want to live in this fantasy world for at least the length of this review. Okay, just let me live in this fantasy world. If I'm dreaming, Just let me sleep. Don't wake me up till my dream is complete. Ask your parents, kids. Before we get to the end, Harry Potter once again gets a medal for being brave because he saves 2 people underwater when he's only supposed to save 1, but he does it anyway because he's Harry freaking Potter. We get to the end. The maze scene, tremendous. Here's where the effects work. The lighting works because, again, you keep it darker. It's easier to get away with some of the special effects tricks, and they do. They really make it work. Again, you're talking about the realism, at least, of somebody having second thoughts of being a hero, right? Harry didn't want to be in this competition in the first place. He was thrust into it. He's at the end. Him and Robert Pattinson, your new Batman, are racing towards the cup. Because the first one to touches it wins. Racing towards the cup. Robert Pattinson gets caught up in the trees, right? Harry Potter has a open lane. Rather than take it, he turns and expectoronus or whatever that leaves off Robert Pattinson. And they both go and touch the trophy together. Again, and before they do that, Pattinson's like, I thought you were going to leave me there. And Harry's like, I thought I was too. Hey, some humanism here. He's not just the all-winning robot. It's a little bit of relatability here. This is what I'm talking about. Improvement. Relationships now. We're starting to understand these people a little bit better. I like it. They hit the trophy together, but it actually transports them into a graveyard. Harry Potter seeing his dreams throughout the whole movie. And here comes Voldy. Back to life. Back to the world of wizardry. And he is ready to kill Harry Potter. However, he wants to do it with some style. He does the evil villain thing. And he's like, we're going to do this duel. Let's do it right? And you know, I won't say I have a sense of dread because I already know there's 4 or 5 more movies after this. But, you know, I'm like, okay, I get it. He's in this scenario. He's surrounded by his friends who were loyal to him this entire time, one of which is Malfoy's daddy. And I'm making a prediction right here, having never seen any of the other movies, having, if I recall, never seeing any of the memes regarding this or knowing anything about this, never reading any of the books. I believe Malfoy is going to turn on his daddy by the end of this series. By the end of the series, he's going to turn on his daddy. He might join him at some point near in the next movie or 2. But by the time we get to the end, he's going to turn on his daddy, and that's going to probably help Harry get to the final destination where he finally defeats Voldemort. So, ceremony. Part of the ceremony is drawing the blood of Harry Potter, and I guess drawing part of this little snake tattoo that's on some of Voldemort's minions as well onto him. I'm sure that's going to have significance later on. It affects Harry Potter in some different way. His blood is part of the thing that helps bring Voldemort back to life. So, back to full life in a body and everything. So, they do this duel. They stand off, wand to wand, evil versus good, battling against each other. All of a sudden, Harry Potter is surrounded by ghosts of people that he knew, including his mama and his daddy. And they give him the final surge necessary to block Voldemort is long enough to get him and the body of Robert Pattinson, who died a little bit earlier on, to touch the cup together. And they go back to the tournament, and he won. But they see Robert Pattinson's dead body there. Big emotional moment that actually does feel real. In the graveyard scene, Harry Potter, once he's getting attacked by Voldemort and the powers going up against him, the cell job Daniel Radcliffe gives on the ground. That's good work. That's a good cell job. That's a great cell job right there. That's a very good, very convincing cell job from somebody who I don't think has ever been in a wrestling ring before. Very, very good. Near the end, we find that this one teacher who's been helping Harry Potter, wouldn't you know it, has been against him the whole time. Shock of all shocks! He's been against him the whole time. And it hasn't even actually been him. It's been the son of Magic Council president or whatever, come back to strike a blow for Voldemort to try to get Harry in a position to get killed by Voldemort, but he survives, and he's checking out the wound on Harry's arm, and he's like, "What was it like to touch the dark one?" And he goes off somewhere, and then he comes back, and he's like, and he reveals himself as somebody who turned on Harry, but he's not the real teacher. Ex Machina, Dumbledore through the door, just as he was about to kill Harry, and he holds the other guy back. Professor Snape is there to... By the way, with Professor Snape, I'm pretty sure any teacher who likes Harry Potter, there's two kinds of teachers. There's ones that try to be Dumbledore, and there's ones that try to be Snape, particularly when the kids make them angry. And I'm sure that there's been some... there's some stuff in here that I know... Because I would think that I might have done it if I had the wherewithal to become a teacher. But I'm sure there are teachers that wanted to say some Professor Snape shit and if they haven't already or done, like, close the blinds or whatever, they wanted to do some Professor Snape shit to their kids. I'm sure they did, because I'm sure I would have. Yada yada yada. He, the son of the Magic Council dude, had held the actual professor in a locked cellar down there for a long time, etc., etc. We fast forward to the end. Big speech with Harry and Dumbledore at the end. And then at the end, all the main characters get together and like, everything's going to change, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it is. And they're moving on to the next adventure in the next movie. This is a good movie. This is a good movie. Again, it's on par with the other one. There's not... The only knock against it, really, the only real knock against it is that stupid ship scene. They could have rendered that shit a whole lot better. But everything else works. I like, we build more equity in the Voldemort story. Now, again, we can either stick with Voldemort right now, or we could, again, another different challenge before we go back to Voldemort. One way or the other. We don't necessarily need to have the next, 4 or 5 movies, go Voldemort, Again, he can be in the background like the last one. In the next, either this one or the next one, we don't necessarily need to focus on Voldemort again. We're going to need another break in there somewhere. But I like this one. I really like this one, and I'm interested in seeing where they go with this. They've built this world quite well. The acting, like I mentioned, has still been good. The effects so far have stayed relatively on par. I would like, again, I'm still looking for them to improve it by the time we get to the end. They have more than enough time and more than enough money. Other characters that I really like in this, Ron's brothers. I'm starting to get a kick out of Ron's brothers. They're fun to watch. I like those guys. They remind me of 2 versions of, what's his name? The dude from the Monkees who wore the beanie all the time. I think it was Mike. They remind me of him. I like them. They're funny. I enjoy watching them on the screen there. Yeah. I don't have a problem with this. Once again, don't have a whole lot to talk about in terms of negativity with this movie. My expectations are pretty high for this. They've not got a lot of room to go in terms of what I would rate them, but they're very, very good. In that instance, in that same vein, I'm going to, once again, comfortably say Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, is a solid 13 fitty. Solid 1350. Solid 1350. We're again we're right there. We're right in that pocket. We're right in that pocket. If they can keep these very consistent and right in that pocket, I'm down. I'm down. We're right in that wheelhouse. They're doing good work right now. There's some room to improve, but they're doing good work they're doing really good, entertaining work right now. 2.5 hours. Didn't necessarily feel like 2.5 hours. I'm down with it. I'm down with it. Party people, I need you to be down with me, and I need you to tell me exactly how correct I am down there in the comment section. Like and share. I got a podcast with my homeboy Trey. We do it every single Thursday. It's called the How Do We Even Get Here podcast. All the links are in the description. Was that in English? All the links are in the description. And in the meantime, in between time, Cheers. Ow.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn your back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.